The story of Wicked isn't really about a good witch and a wicked witch. It's about the moment two friends are forced to become those labels for the rest of the world. The new Wicked movie is building toward a single, devastating choice that will redefine everything you think you know about good and evil. And it all comes down to the final, heartbreaking fracture in the bond between Elphaba and Glinda. So, if you've seen the first movie, let's get into how this story is about to change the way we see heroes and villains forever. Before we can even talk about the finale, we have to go back to where it all started, Shiz University. The first film does a brilliant job of setting the stage, not for a simple rivalry, but for a huge clash of worldviews. On one side, you have Glinda, played with so much bubbly charm by Ariana Grande. She's a woman who gets that in Oz. Perception is everything. She was raised in a society that values popularity over everything else.
How the heck did you get into that outfit?
Lube.
And honestly, she plays the game better than anyone. On the other side is Cynthia Erivo's Elphaba, an outcast whose green skin makes her an automatic inconvenience in the polished world of Shiz. The film smartly gives us more of her backstory, showing a childhood filled with bullying and rejection that fuels her passion for the oppressed animals of Oz. Her power isn't just magic, it comes from a deep sense of integrity and a refusal to just stand by when she sees something wrong. Their first meeting is perfectly captured in the song, "What Is This Feeling?"
Loathing, unadulterated loathing.
On the surface, it's all about mutual loathing, but what the film really shows us is a massive misunderstanding. Glinda sees Elphaba as a social reject who won't even try to fit in, while Elphaba sees Glinda as a shallow symbol of everything she hates about society. But underneath it all, they both want what the other has. For all her popularity, Glinda lacks Elphaba's substance. And for all her moral clarity, Elphaba craves the acceptance that comes so easily to Glinda. This brings us to popular.
I know about popular.
One of the most important scenes in the first film. Yes, it's a fun makeover song, but it's also Glinda's attempt to shape Elphaba into someone the world can finally accept.
And it's all because of me.
Yes, Miss Glinda.
It's partly a genuine act of friendship, but it's also a subtle form of control. She's teaching Elphaba how to survive in Oz, but the only way she knows how is by sanding down all the edges that make Elphaba who she is. This is the first time we see their core beliefs really clash. Glinda thinks you have to change yourself to fit the world, while Elphaba thinks you have to change the world itself. That friction is what drives the entire story. The trip to the Emerald City is where that friction turns into a full-blown fracture. Both Elphaba and Glinda show up with so much hope. Elphaba is convinced the wizard will hear her out about the animals and use his power for good. Glinda thinks she's about to get everything she's ever wanted: influence, validation, and a prime spot in the social stratosphere. Both of them are about to be brutally disappointed. This is where the movie digs into its most important theme: corruption. Jeff Goldblum's wizard isn't just some guy hiding behind a curtain. He's the living symbol of a system that stays in power by creating enemies and controlling the truth.
Oh, no.
He's not really a person, he's a brand. And his power comes from his ability to slap labels on things: good, wicked, right, wrong. The wizard plays both of them perfectly by going after their deepest desires. He dangles the promise of justice in front of Elphaba, asking her to join him, only to reveal he wants to use her magic to oppress the animals.
Exactly. That's why I need you.
For Glinda, he offers the ultimate prize, a place by his side as the beloved public figure, Glinda the Good, a smiling symbol of his regime. This is the turning point. It's the moment they realize the entire system is a lie.
Welcome to Shiz.
The leader they looked up to is a fraud, and Madame Morrible, their old headmistress, is his chief propagandist, ready to spin whatever story keeps them in power.
Yes, that was me.
For Elphaba, the choice is immediate. She can't be part of this. But for Glinda, it's way more complicated. She sees the truth, but calling out the wizard means giving up everything she's ever worked for. Director John M. Chu says Glinda is in a bubble of privilege, and the biggest question of her story is whether or not she's willing to pop it.
Oh, I didn't know.
And that brings us to defying gravity.
Gravity, and you can't pull me down.
The explosive climax of the first film. This moment is so much more than just Elphaba's big rebellion. It's the moment their friendship is finally broken by the weight of the entire world. When Madame Morrible screams to the citizens of Oz that Elphaba is a wicked witch, she's not just spreading a rumor, she's creating a brand. She's manufacturing a public enemy to unite people behind the wizard. In that instant, Elphaba has two choices: give up and be silenced, or own the label and fight back. She chooses to fight.
Beats a Jet2 holiday.
As she rises into the air, she isn't just defying the wizard, she's defying the world's power to define her. But the most heartbreaking part of this scene is Glinda's choice. Elphaba begs her,
Come with me.
asking her to join the fight, and Glinda says,
No.
it's easy to see this as a betrayal or even cowardice.
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
But the film shows it as something way more complex. Glinda's decision to stay is her own kind of strategy. She seems to believe she can do more good from the inside, using her position to soften the blows and maybe change the system from within. She chooses the path of compromise, while Elphaba chooses the path of revolution. Neither choice is easy, and neither one is presented as perfectly right or wrong. They are impossible choices made by two friends trapped in an impossible situation. Their friendship, the most real thing in their lives, is sacrificed for public perception, and that sets the stage for everything that's coming next. So, with their friendship shattered, what happens next in Wicked for Good? Based on the musical, we can expect to pick up years later, after those labels have had time to harden. Elphaba is now a demonized fugitive, leading a resistance for animal rights from the shadows. Glinda, meanwhile, is trapped in a beautiful cage. She's the darling of Oz, but she's also a pawn for the wizard and Madame Morrible, used to keep the public calm and happy. This is where the story's political edge gets even sharper. We'll likely see Madame Morrible's propaganda machine in full gear, spreading rumors that pure water can melt Elphaba. It's a masterclass in how a state can create a villain to unite its people against a common enemy. Fiyero, now captain of the guard, will likely be torn between his duty to hunt Elphaba and his love for her, a conflict that will force him to finally pick a side. Even though their paths have split, Elphaba and Glinda's stories are still hopelessly intertwined. The arrival of a certain girl from Kansas will only throw gasoline on the fire, pushing Oz toward the brink of all-out civil war. But the real heart of the second film will almost certainly be the final reunion between Elphaba and Glinda. This is where the story could truly challenge our ideas of good and evil. Their last confrontation shouldn't be about winning or losing. It should be about understanding. This all builds to the song For Good, a moment so crucial that director John M. Chu has said he filmed it with raw intimacy, focusing entirely on the two women. In that moment, they'd finally see each other clearly, without their public labels. It's not about forgiveness, but acceptance. They understand the impossible choices they both had to make. This all leads to a potential ending that could be truly revolutionary. The stage musical leaves things a bit ambiguous. But what if the film makes a braver choice? What if Elphaba's public melting isn't a tragic accident, but a strategic choice they both make? In this version of the story, her death is a sacrifice to end the war, allowing her to disappear and continue her fight from the shadows. And this time, what if Glinda is in on the plan? Her public grief would be real, but it would also be a performance. By letting the world think the Wicked Witch is dead, Glinda could finally be in a position to seize real power. She could expose the wizard as a fraud and have Madame Morrible arrested, becoming the leader Oz actually needs. If that happens, the story is no longer about a good witch and a wicked witch. It's about two friends who, together, dismantle the system that tried to crush them. Elphaba would embrace her wickedness to spark a revolution, while Glinda would learn to use her goodness as a tool for real political change. They'd realize they are two sides of the same coin, and that together they save Oz. Their complicated, fractured friendship would ultimately be the most powerful force for good in the entire story. It's a radical way to think about heroism. It suggests that being good isn't about being perfect or popular. It's about integrity, sacrifice, and the power of a friendship that defies every label. It reminds us that good and wicked are just stories we tell ourselves. The truth is always way more complicated and way more beautiful. So, what do you think? Do you believe Glinda made the right choice by staying behind? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this look into the world of Oz, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell
That's what makes me so nice.
so you don't miss our next breakdown. Thanks for watching!